Hi readers, welcome back to my channel, Lila Wanders and Reads. Lee here, and welcome to Book Talk Tuesday. And despite what this title says, this book talk is not about Christmas. This Book Talk Tuesday is about Thanksgiving. And I know it's Native American Heritage Month, and I should have possibly done a Native American Heritage theme today, but honestly, the past couple of 3-4 weeks have just been exhausting, and I needed something light-ish that didn't require too much emotional energy from me. And so we're going with Thanksgiving, and you'll see why, with the exception of one book, in theory, this won't require a lot of emotional energy. But one thing I found when I was doing the research for this video is that there are not a lot of fiction books for adults about Thanksgiving. And that's kind of surprising to me. I mean, there are a ton of books about Christmas, obviously, but not much about Thanksgiving. And you could go into several reasons why, but you know, I think for a lot of people, Thanksgiving is about food and family, so you'd think that there would be more with that as the subject. So on these, I really kind of had to do some stretching. It had to be set in Thanksgiving, where even if it wasn't overt, Thanksgiving played a part in each of these. And again, it's a little surprising. One of the things that I learned in college, I went back to try to get my master's a million years ago, and I took a class on children's literature. And a big part of children's literature is food and descriptions of food. You see it in the Chronicles of Narnia. You see it in a lot of other books. One series, which I will not talk about on this channel at all, plays a huge part in. So I would think that it also played a part in adult literature, but as I'm reading, it doesn't really. And that's a shame. It's a lost opportunity in my opinion. Anywho, let's get on with the story. Find my glasses, and we'll be off. The first book that I want to talk about is Truman Capote's A Christmas Memory. This is actually not really a book. It is I think it's a novella, and it's 3 stories. Taking its place next to Breakfast at Tiffany's and In Cold Blood on the modern library bookshelf is a collection of Truman Capote's most famous short stories. A Christmas Memory, One Christmas, so there's my Christmas vibe, and The Thanksgiving Visitor. Capote regarded these stories, inspired by his childhood spent with his family in rural Alabama, to be among his greatest works of short fiction. All 3 stories are distinguished by Capote's delicate interplay of childhood sensibility and recollective vision, centering on his relationship with his elderly single cousin, Sook, who was his best friend. These holiday tales form an unforgettable portrait of an enduring friendship, of memories of beloved holiday traditions. I've got to blot my lipstick. I just put the gloss on and it got a little too glossy. Whew. Sorry about that. Anywho, unforgettable portrait of an enduring friendship and memories of beloved holiday traditions. So I've not read any of these. I have had this mental plan to at least read one book before I do a Book Talk Tuesday, but life has been getting in the way, and not life, just I've been having a really rough couple of 6 weeks. Not really 6 weeks. Really, it's more 3 to 4. Maybe it's 6. I don't know. It was pretty much all of October and some of November. So I've been having trouble reading, trouble settling. There's a couple reasons for that. I've talked about that a lot. I don't want to hammer on about that. It's getting annoying. I'm tired of it. But anyway, I didn't make it to Thanksgiving yet. Hopefully, I might get one of these this year. But probably not before Thanksgiving, because I do have some other books I need to read. Next up is a book that I was going to be reading right now, but I picked something else. And that is a book I've had forever. It is Krista Davis, The Diva Runs Out of Time. I went back and forth because at some point in the future, I've got books stacked up by Book Talk subject, I'm going to be doing a series on, or an edition on, cozy mysteries, and this falls right into that camp. Cozy mysteries are hit or miss for me. I really prefer a murder mystery where the murder happens either on the page or it's very gory. Cozy happens off the page and it's not really gory. But I did go on, years ago when I was in Afghanistan, I went on a murder or cozy mystery buying spree, and so now I have a lot of cozy mysteries that I have not read. The Diva Runs Out of Time is one of those. Mary Jane Maffini, who I do not know, calls it a mouth-watering mix of murder, mirth, and mayhem. And Thanksgiving does play a big part in this one. Some dishes are best served cold. Few can compete with the Natasha Smith when it comes to entertaining, but her childhood rival Sophie Winston certainly tries. While Natasha is known for her intricate centerpieces and painstakingly prepared gourmet meals, Sophie likes to keep things simple, real simple. Natasha may have stolen the spotlight and Sophie's husband, but Sophie is determined to take home the prize at the stupendous stuffing shakedown. She just needs the right ingredients. However, Sophie's search for the perfect turkey takes a basting when she stumbles across a corpse, and when the police find her name and photo inside the victim's car, they think she has some explaining to do. Sophie will have to set her trussing aside to solve the murder, or she'll be serving up prison grub, and that definitely wouldn't be a good thing. So the only thing I think that put me off from reading this is the very small font, which is fine if I've got my glasses on. I just prefer a larger font. I cannot believe I'm at the age where I'm talking about font size. Anywho, if you like a cozy mystery, I'd really love to hear what you think of them. If you've read this book, hey, love to hear from you. This has got recipes at the end for stuffing and brining and a bourbon pecan pie, brining basics, several different stuffings. Anywho, I'm not making a stuffing for Thanksgiving. I actually ordered my food. So, next up, kind of also a cozy mystery. I believe it's definitely a mystery. This one is not going to go in the cozy mystery talking about pile, though. This would be a detective mystery, which I'm also going to do a video on at some point in the near future. This is not one I've heard of. This is Wicked Autumn by G.M. Malliet. Malliet? I don't know. I love books set in the English countryside, and if it's a murder, all the better. This is the first in a delightful series set in the bucolic English hamlet of Nether Monkslip. Wicked Autumn stars a handsome and eligible vicar with a shadowy past as a secret agent. He was in MI5. Max Tudor has all the village ladies swooning until one of them turns up dead. And then that's all it says about this. But I feel like first of all, this is copyright 2011. I did a search for books about Thanksgiving. Wicked Autumn came up in this. This is, I believe, set around Thanksgiving time. Obviously, in the English don't celebrate Thanksgiving the way we do. No shit. But this came up in... Why did this come up in a Thanksgiving search? But it certainly did, because I ordered it and had to wait for it to come in. Because I had to order it from, like, a used bookstore. Anywho... When I get to my detective series video, book talk, this kind of is, I might put this in there as well, because I have been on a PBS kick lately where I'm trying to go back and watch more PBS, and I watched a recent murder mystery series on PBS and just adored it. I binged it. It was 3 episodes. I watched them back to back to back. I think it was 3. So I ended up buying the books that they were based on, but this kind of when I saw this, and for whatever reason it was in the Thanksgiving search, it also made me feel like PBS-ish, and I am definitely going to think about reading that one soon. Definitely soon. Yeah. Anywho. Okay, next up, we're going back to America and traditional Thanksgiving. This is another book that is food-related. I think that might be why Wicked Autumn was in there, because of food, but Diva Runs Out of Time, food. Wicked Autumn, it's got food in there. The City Baker's Guide to Country Living by Louise Miller also is food-centered, which again is why I think that when more authors don't center their books around food, they're really missing out. When Olivia Rawlings, pastry chef extraordinaire for an exclusive Boston dinner club, sets not just her flambé dessert, but the entire building alight, she escapes to the idyllic town of Guthrie, Vermont. But the getaway turns into something more lasting when Margaret Hurley, the cantankerous owner of the Sugar Maple Inn, offers Livy a job. I really want to read this like right now. Hold on. I'll come back to it. With the joys of a fragrant kitchen and the crisp scent of the orchard just outside the front door, Livy soon finds herself whipping up her mouth-watering desserts for the locals and, along with her gigantic dog Salty, making friends all over town. And when she meets Martin McCracken, Livy comes to understand that she may not be as alone in this world as she once thought. That's sweet. And this Louise Miller looks like she's wearing a chef's coat on this. You probably can't see her because the white actually blends in. I don't know anything about her, but this looks like a fun book, and I'm going to have to check her out later. I really want to read that. That's a Penguin book. I hope that it is good. I really need some good. I've been going through the average. That's copyright 2016, so it's been around a minute. I'll have to check out Louise Miller. Okay, 2 other books that have been around a minute. One is by Ann Tyler, who I have books by, but I don't think I've ever read her, and I don't have my phone with me, so I can't double check that. In this, The Accidental Tourist, Ann Tyler explores the slippery alchemy of attracting opposites and the struggle to rebuild one's life after unspeakable tragedy. Travel writer Macon Leary hates travel, adventure, surprises, and anything outside of his routine. So, what? Immobilized by grief, Macon is becoming increasingly prickly and alone, feel ya? Anchored by his solitude and an unwillingness to compromise his creature comforts. Then, he meets Muriel, an eccentric dog trainer too optimistic to let Macon disappear into himself. Despite Macon's best efforts to remain insulated, Muriel upends his solitary, systemized life, catapulting him into the center of a messy, beautiful love story he never imagined. A fresh and timeless tale of unexpected bliss, The Accidental Tourist showcases Tyler's talents for making characters and their relationships feel both real and magical. Again, does not sound like it has anything to do with Thanksgiving, but I did not think to save the link, but I went and did a search for books about Thanksgiving, and this showed up on it. Apparently there is a big, important Thanksgiving scene, and maybe I'll get around to reading The Accidental Tourist soon. If you've read it, I'd love to hear what you think about it. I'd love to hear if you think I should bump it up into my next reads, because right now I'm like, I'd like to read this. I thought I was going to read The Diva Runs Out of Time next, but then I was like, maybe I want to read Wicked Autumn, and then I read that, and I'm like, this is number 1, even above The Accidental Tourist. But who knows, I might, like I have been, just pick something completely random off the shelf. Okay. Next up is another book that could go into 2 different categories. One, it is set in Thanksgiving, so that's why I'm talking about it here. But I'm also going to do in the near future books that have been made into movies or TV series. So that should come up in the next sometime this year, because I'm reading right now a book that's been made into a movie. I just finished one for book club, The Stepford Wives. I've done Rosemary's Baby. I've bought a couple others, and this one, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk by Ben Fountain, has also been made into a movie. I have not seen the movie. I have hesitated to pick up this book It is about Iraq and early days of that, and I have been hesitant to read fiction or nonfiction about Iraq or Afghanistan for reasons. And there are personal reasons. It is very hard for me to read about them. It's getting better as distance goes, but that is why I've never picked up this book, and I had to think about this long and hard before I picked this up now. Khalid Hosseini calls it such a rich book. It's angry, it's moving, it's compassionate, it's dead serious, but it's also really funny. So, 3 minutes and 40 seconds of intense warfare with Iraqi insurgents caught on tape by an embedded Fox News crew has transformed the 8 surviving men of Bravo Squad into America's most sought-after heroes. Now they're on a media-intensive nationwide tour to reinvigorate public support for the war. On this rainy Thanksgiving Day, the Bravos are guests of the Dallas Cowboys, slated to be part of the halftime show alongside Destiny's Child. Wow, this is dated, isn't it? I'm writing a note because I just thought about something I have to say. Anywho, Destiny's Child. When was this published? This was published... Copyright 2012. Was Destiny's Child around in 2012? It doesn't say what year this is set. Anywho, let's move on. That is not the point. Among the Bravos is 19-year-old specialist Billy Lynn. Surrounded by patriots sporting flag pins on their lapels and "Support Our Troops" bumper stickers, he is thrust into the company of the Cowboys' owner and his coterie of wealthy colleagues. A born-again Cowboys cheerleader, a veteran Hollywood producer, and supersized players eager for a vicarious taste of war. Over the course of this day, Billy will drink and brawl, yearn for home and mourn those missing, face a heart-wrenching decision, and discover pure love and bitter wisdom far beyond his years. So, this is neither here nor there, but, and I hesitate to call it this, but I call it this out of trying to be funny, not because I believe it's serious. But one of my secret shames, I don't believe in shame, I don't have any, but it's funny to call it that, was I used to watch the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader reality show. And when you watch a reality show like that, you think that you're going in to see something and that it's all fun and games, but that shit is hard. Like, I couldn't do what they do and what they're required to do physically. No shit, I'm a lot older than all those girls, but I couldn't have done it even back in the day. And I don't know if I'd want to. Not only is it hard, and they have an image to maintain, but they have to have a full-time job on top of that. Like, it's practically volunteer work. But I'm sure they get some benefit of it. That is not the point. I just thought that would be a nice little aside. It's a great show. I have a lot of respect for the leaders of the cheer team and for the cheerleaders themselves. It really changed my opinion on cheerleading and cheerleaders after watching that. Really, really great show. A lot of seasons. I don't know where. It might be on Netflix right now. I got off the Netflix. I think I started watching it on Paramount. But since this stars the Dallas Cowboys, I thought that would be an important aside. If you haven't watched it, I recommend it. It will, again, physically, the things that the women go through is intense, and then they have to be on their game for everything, and like I said, have a full-time job. Anywho, that is it for me. This short-ish Thanksgiving book talk. Hey, I'd really love to hear from you. If you have any other books that are set around Thanksgiving or where Thanksgiving is a major theme, I'd love to hear from you so I can put it on my list for next year. I don't know if I'll even do one next year, but who knows? I'd like to have that ready. And I'd also like to know, does anybody set their books around Thanksgiving, their fiction books around Thanksgiving? Anywho, that is it for me. I will be back tomorrow with a video about Janet Daly and some fun I've had with some back reading, some scandal, some mystery, that kind of stuff. That is all for me. Thank you again for sticking with me on this journey. Happy reading!